Hey guys, today we are making 5 mouth-watering appetizers that are perfect for any Super Bowl or game day party. Now, even if you are not a football fan, these appetizers would be amazing for any get-together or party that you are having. They are always crowd pleasers. We will be making Dill Pickle Chex mix, Italian Bundtwiches sandwiches, and I will be showing you how to make this bread, everything Bagel Pigs in a blanket, crispy pizza rolls, and slow cooker buffalo chicken dip. We have a lot to cover, as you can see, so let's go get started. Let's start with my Dill Pickle Chex mix. So I know, again, another Chex mix. Can you tell how much I love it? But this is a really unique flavor profile here. So I have 8 cups of Chex cereal. I have a mix of rice and corn. You could also use whole wheat. And to that, I am going to add in 2 cups of bagel chips. You can leave them whole or break them into smaller pieces if you prefer. 1 cup of pretzels and 1 cup of cashews. And I would recommend using just plain cashews. I had salt and pepper, but they were a little too salty with the mix. But anyway, I have a 9 by 13 inch casserole dish here. And I have 1 stick of butter melted, and I'm going to add in a 1 ounce package of ranch seasoning mix, 1 tablespoon of dried dill, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 2 tablespoons of pickle juice from the jar. And then we just want to stir our cereal mixture all into that and coat everything as evenly as possible. And then I have my oven preheated to 250 degrees, just like all other Chex Mix recipes. We want to cook this low and slow so that everything has time to absorb all of these flavors. So we are going to bake it for 1 hour, stirring every 15 minutes. And then just let cool and enjoy. So now moving on to our Italian Bundtwiches sandwiches. Now you can use this bread to make any kind of sub sandwich that you'd like, an American, a chicken cutlet, etc. Now I'm making the bread here, but normally what I would do is use the tubes of French bread dough by Pillsbury that you can get in the refrigerated section. But for those of you who do not have access to that or cannot find it in your grocery store, this is how we make it. So I have a 1/4 cup of warm water, and I'm just dissolving 1 packet of active dry yeast and a teaspoon of sugar in that water. And we just want to let that sit and bloom for about 5 minutes. And then in the bowl of my stand mixer here, I have 3 to 3.5 cups of flour, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and I'm adding in an additional 1 cup of warm water, about 100 degrees. So we just want to knead that with the dough hook for about 5 minutes, or until it's pulling away from the sides in a ball. And it'll be slightly sticky but shouldn't leave any residue on your finger, as you can see here. So we just want to place this in a greased bowl and give it about 45 minutes to an hour to rise, covered. So now I have my bundt pan here, and we want to roll this dough out. If you want to get really technical, you can measure the inside of your bundt pan to see how long it is, but you can really stretch it out. So we want to put this on a floured surface and roll it out into a long rectangle, and then roll it up jelly roll style. Place it in our bundt pan and pinch the ends together. And again, you can always kind of stretch it to fit. And if you're not making the bread, this is where you would just place 2 tubes of the Pillsbury French bread dough in and pinch them together. So then we just want to brush that with an egg wash, 1 egg mixed together. And I like to sprinkle some sesame seeds on top. So then I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees, and we just want to bake this for about 35 to 45 minutes, or until it sounds hollow when you tap on it. And then you just want to transfer it to a wire rack to cool. So now I am just going to carefully slice this in half, keeping my serrated knife flat so we get a nice even cut as I twirl the bread around. And then to make my Italian sandwich, I am adding some shredded lettuce, along with about 1/4 pound of mortadella, 1/4 pound of Genoa salami, a 1/4 pound of sliced pepperoni, And then some provolone cheese, again about 1/4 pound. And you just want to fold them in half and make a nice even layer with all of the meats and cheese on the sandwich. You could also add tomato, of course. I like to leave the dressing off of the sandwich and serve it on the side. That way you can make this sandwich even the day before your party and it won't get soggy. So then we just want to cut it into little triangles and serve. This is something we made in catering all the time. We made a lot of wedge sandwiches, like the long 2, 3, 4 footers, but this round sandwich bread was always highly requested because it's easy to fit in your refrigerator, but it was really hard for us to get this specialty bread. So I wanted to figure out a way to make it at home, especially for those of you who maybe typically order sandwiches for a party like this. Growing up, my parents always threw Super Bowl parties with all my aunts and uncles, and we always ordered these sandwiches. Again, an American combo is usually ham, turkey, roast beef, American cheese with some mayo. You could do that. You could do breaded chicken cutlets with some Italian dressing, or do like a chicken bacon ranch. The possibilities are endless, but you really can't go wrong with a classic Italian combo. Okay, so let's move on to our everything bagel pigs in a blanket. So I have 1 tube of crescent roll dough here and 1 package of cocktail franks. Now, the cocktail franks usually have anywhere from 38 to 40 in a package. So I like to make 8 rows by 5 rows on the crescent roll dough. That way we have plenty. And then we just want to roll each of the crescent roll strips around each hot dog and place them on a parchment-lined baking sheet. And then I just have 1 egg whisked that we are going to brush all on the tops of the crescent roll dough. And that is going to help hold our everything bagel seasoning. So we just want to sprinkle some of the seasoning on the tops of each hot dog. And then I have my oven preheated to 375 degrees, and we want to bake these for about 15 minutes or until nice and golden brown. Now I know I have seen most pigs in a blanket recipes use like a whole triangle of dough around each hot dog, but this is actually the way that my brother always makes them, and I find it to be so genius because it's a much better ratio of dough to hot dog and you get more bang for your buck. Pigs in a blanket have always been a go-to appetizer for my family. We've been making them for years and years and years, way before I was even born, and I like this fun twist on them. And they are great served dipped in mustard. So now let's move on to my crispy pizza rolls. So I have wonton wrappers. You can find these in most produce sections, kind of by the tofu and items like that. So I have some cheese sticks that I cut in half. You could also use like a block of mozzarella cheese and cut strips out of that, along with pepperoni. This time I was just using turkey pepperoni because that's what we had. But you want to lay a few slices of the pepperoni, a half a stick of the mozzarella cheese, and then sprinkle with some basil and oregano. And then using some water, you just want to run your finger all around the edges of the egg roll wrapper, and that's what is going to help them stick together. So then in my deep skillet here, I have oil heated to 375 degrees. You want it about 1 inch or 2 thick just to cover them halfway. And we just want to fry them for about 3 minutes or so on each side or until they're nice and golden brown. And then they are best served with some warm marinara sauce. These are such a fun twist on just getting pizza delivered for a party. They're nice and handheld, they're super crunchy and melty. You get a nice cheese pull out of them. This is another classic that we make for all kinds of parties. And then last but certainly not least, we are moving on to my slow cooker buffalo chicken dip. So in my slow cooker here, I have 4 cups of shredded cooked chicken, and I am adding 8 ounces of cream cheese that I cubed up, 1 cup of buffalo sauce. Now buffalo sauce is different than hot sauce. Buffalo sauce is a combination of butter and hot sauce. So make sure you don't make that mistake, because if you use straight hot sauce, it might be a little too hot. And then 1 cup of ranch dressing. as well as 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. And we just want to give that a good stir and cook that on low for 3 to 4 hours or on high for 2 hours. Stirring about every 30 minutes, and it's done once everything is all nice and melted. And then we just want to add a half a cup onto the top of the shredded cheddar cheese and cover it and just let it cook for an additional 10 to 15 minutes or until that's all nice and melted. And then I like to garnish it with some sliced green onions. This is great with tortilla chips, celery, carrots. It's the perfect amount of heat, and I love that you can just keep it warm in your slow cooker and you don't have to worry about having the oven on. It makes it for a much easier party. I really hope you enjoyed coming along and making 5 Super Bowl appetizers with me. As I said, even if you're not into football, these are great appetizers for any kind of party. But if you are into football, who are you rooting for this Super Bowl? We're still torn. I was raised a Giants fan, converted to a Patriots fan. I know, don't hate, but I still haven't decided who we are going to root for, so I'm curious. And if you give anything a try, please be sure to let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.